Welcome back to episode 8, everybody.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. Thanks for coming and joining us.
Do you believe that you are delusionally optimistic about your life? Like, I
Yes.
mean, like if you know how hard it was going to be to get to this point, like, 3 years ago when we set off on this journey, if you knew all the struggles that you were going to have to go through, do you think that you would have done it?
No,
Like we're still not there, obviously, but do
no.
you think,
I would have never, ever moved to Fiji if I knew how hard it was going to be.
why?
Because I'm weak. I don't know. Like, comfort
Hmm.
is important to everyone. I think number one reason I wouldn't have moved, if I had known that COVID was going to happen and I didn't get to see my family for like just under 3 years, that
That's
would have
true.
that would have been a hard pass for me. I would
Hmm.
have never said yes to that. I said yes because we agreed that we'd be back at least minimum yearly.
Hmm.
So, yeah, if I had known that was coming for us, I wouldn't have said yes. I think in my mind, that's like the ultimate hardness. I think like the business struggle, it's been hard, but like I was prepared for it to be hard. I I'm prepared for like the harsh reality of business and like the harsh like grind that you have to be in. I'm okay with that style of struggle. I'm not okay with like my it's not even me being separated from my family. It's like my children being separated from my
Hmm.
family. Yeah, that's harder. That's been tough.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard question for me to answer
Okay.
because, like, even in the moment, I'm like, at times, I'm like, should we keep going? Like, not with this life, but like with certain ventures and things that we try,
Hmm.
because it seems to be there is just so many in life. There's just so many obstacles to face, and then you put yourself on a rock in the middle of the ocean, and those obstacles become, so much more pronounced. And I say this not like we're the only people that have problems. Like we're like now partaking in the problems that everybody in Fiji has, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like it's a privilege of sorts because like one of the things like we've talked about before is like we're taking this, uh social media class which allows us to give value to you guys in a way that would, you know, because right now we have a bunch of followers, right? But to allow those to give value to, you know, to people who, follow our journey and stuff like that in a way that they would find it like they would find it intriguing, and they would be encouraged to like, hey, be part of our businesses or to buy the products that we one day sell and
Have we
stuff like that.
talked about our class we're
Yeah,
taking?
yeah, we have. Yeah,
Oh,
we've talked about it. Yeah,
I'm just like blanking out on that.
yeah, we've talked about it a couple times. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so yeah, like yeah, going back to like our journey and stuff like that. I don't know the way sometimes I look at it, and this feels kind of harsh for other people who are doing social media, but I've thought about it. Like you kind of have like we had like two options, right? We could do social media and stay in Canada, try to grow our businesses or our business in Canada, and that's a slow grind, but you get the comfort.
Yeah.
Or you get to take yourself out of the comfort, and you get to have a really cool story which attracts people to like follow your journey.
Yeah.
And so it's like I wouldn't say one is better than the other, or like you're lesser of a person if you choose one over the other. It's just like kind of like this is a journey that we chose.
I would say that like the comfort is easier and the slow grind is easier because like the effort put in the beginning was equivalent.
Right.
Like okay, so for the cleaning company, John was working a full-time job when I started our cleaning business in Canada.
Yeah.
I went John told me I got fired from a job, if I'm honest. I
Why'd
have
you get fired?
I have
We haven't talked about
shame.
that.
I feel shame for being fired because I hate thinking that I was a bad enough employee.
Dude, I've been fired before.
I know for being
But
fired.
people have
There's
heard the story about like me like working a job and then giving you a timeline, but they haven't heard the story about you being fired.
okay, so I was waitressing I waitressed for like 6 or 7 years in restaurants. Canadian culture is that we tip our waitresses and waiters 10 to 15% of our bill. So you make a good amount in tips. And I remember,
Sometimes 20 or 25.
yeah, like I used to make bank waitressing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people asking me, oh, are you going to go to university and like get a degree? And I was like, why would I go into debt for like a degree that I make less money than I am now waitressing? Like, I'm not
Yeah,
dumb.
exactly.
Like, I'm going to make money and it's easy. I don't need a degree and I don't need to go into debt. But when we moved to Kelowna, I started working at breakfast places because I didn't want to live like this like nighttime lifestyle of never being home in the
Yeah, that's
evening.
right.
We were
Yeah, because you
married.
kind of opted out of like you were used to work at Earl's and some pubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, like worked in like the nighttime restaurants.
Yeah,
Like
and then you chose
no
to go
like
to
big
breakfast
bars
places.
or anything, but just like fancier restaurants that I had to work evening shifts, and you make a lot more money in the evenings. When you work breakfast, people give you like $2 to $5 per table, and you make way less money.
Do you think people are grumpier, like the employees are grumpier at breakfast
Oh,
places than other
like
places, or no?
way grumpier,
Really?
and everybody hates each other. Like we all work
You guys just
together.
crushing coffee all day?
People are crushing coffee, you get free coffee all day, and you get yelled at by the customers because they haven't had enough coffee and they're cranky and they're going to work, or like they don't like their lives, and then the cooks in the back hate you as well for no reason, and then they yell at you. So you just get yelled at all day, and you make like quarter of the money that you make at night, and you don't look cute because you just wear gross, like greasy
Like just
clothes.
like nude makeup,
Yeah.
aka no makeup.
Yeah, you just look like not that great. And at night, you used to be like told like you have to wear makeup and do your hair and heels and look amazing. And so it's a very different like culture.
Yeah,
Um,
get dressed, girl.
yeah.
Do yourself up. Look good.
So John used to no. John used to be like, go get your flirt on, make some money, because you just like joke with the clients and they'd tip you more. And never cross the
We're gonna
line.
edit that out.
Yeah, right. But when you go to the breakfast world, it's very different and it's fine. But I worked for this company and the business owners there were very new to business and they just like wanted to invest in something. And I think like looking in like hindsight, being a business owner, I think they were just struggling with getting like the money out of the business that they wanted. But they went with like not like an encouraging business owner perspective. They went like with like I'm gonna threaten your job and I'm the boss and I'm gonna tell you what to do at every second. And there was this like pressure between coworkers. One thing that they did is like you had to sell a certain amount per client, and they put a list of the staff at who sold the most and who sold the least, and the person on the least would get fired every month. And
Hmm.
they did things like,
I've heard of that strategy at a few different jobs,
yeah,
like
but this is like a restaurant.
dealerships and
That you're
stuff
not
like
getting,
that.
you're getting paid below minimum wage. Like nobody cares about their job that much there. They'd
Right.
also say like you're never allowed to have holidays like Christmas off. Don't even ask for any kind of holiday off. You will never get like the approval. They told us if you're sick, there's no calling in sick. You can come into the restaurant. If you're sick and we deem that you're sick enough, you may go home. I got glass in my eye once, and then Canadian law says that if I got injured or sick on the job, they still had to pay me for the day, and I had to go to the hospital to get the glass removed from my eye, and then they docked my pay, and then
Hashtag illegal.
illegal, and then they used to have like this reward program, like if you sold enough, they'd give you free food vouchers, and I gave Jonathan. I brought him for breakfast, and I used one of my free food vouchers, and the manager
You
had
lying, cheating, thieving
yeah.
fool.
The manager had said to me, I'm not sure if you can use this for your spouse or if it's for you. And I said, okay, that's fine. Use it for now. If there's a problem with management, let me know and I'll just repay it. 3 months down the line, I had a meeting with the managers and they said, you weren't allowed to use this for your spouse. You have to repay the $30. And so I was like, okay. So I repaid it. And then I had told them, I said, look, like, I don't think people are very happy working. Like, you guys have taken all the benefits away of working here. You're like threatening us not to be able to have any holidays off. Like, it's getting kind of rough. And then the next day I got fired for my honesty.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember you crying.
I was so devastated. Like, I think like I was ready to be fired because I was so sick of being treated poorly, but my ego was hurt that I got fired. It was a hard blow on me. And then you were pretty like stressed. We were pretty strapped for money. And I remember you being like, you need to have a job. And I was applying places. And I got really desperate. I went out and started picking apples in an orchard. It was
Dude, you still gotta
summertime.
go get your money.
Yeah. So I thought in my mind, like, I'm a hard worker. I could totally crush, like, picking apples. At least I could make, like, $60, something like that. They were paying us $20 a bin. And these bins are, like, the size of a king size bed and deep. And you have to fill it with apples. I think I got one bin filled in a day. And I went home so depressed that I sucked at filling this bin with apples. And I never went back for my $20. I was like,
Yo, go get your money, girl.
I was so ashamed that I couldn't even do the job properly. And luckily within a couple weeks, like, that was my only break ever in my lifetime of work. But I didn't go back for my money. I just got a real job working at another pub at night. And then I decided to start my own business because I had such bad bosses that fired me. I was like, I could be a better boss than they could. So long story short, John told me I had a year to make it successful. Otherwise I had to get a real job. Those are his words. And that was a lot of pressure because I was like, all right, I'm going to work at night and then I'm going to crush this in the day. I didn't know how to do it. I went door to door and had people yell at me and like curse me out and be like, why are you at my house? It's like, I don't need anything. And the way I started my business was actually handing out like free cleanings for clients.
Door to door, baby.
I like advertised, I'll do a free cleaning at your house. I'll clean your whole house. If you like it, you can rehire me. If you don't want to rehire me, you don't have to.
Yo, that was such a bad idea.
No, that was a great idea. I
Was
got
it?
my first 2 clients off of that. My
Yeah,
first
okay.
2.
Well, I was just like, I'm saying such a bad idea because listening to you talk about it, I feel bad for suggesting it. Hey, babe, I have a plan for you. Okay, here's what you're gonna do to start your business.
Yeah.
You're gonna go around town. You're gonna offer a bunch of people. You're gonna go to every house. You know what every homeowner hates? Cleaning their house. You're gonna offer, I'll clean your house for free. If you don't like it, you don't have to have me back.
And you don't have to pay me.
You don't have to pay me. If you like it, you still don't have to pay me. And you can have me back if you want.
Yeah.
Just
And
everybody.
I worked,
Dude, if you showed up at my house, I'd be like, oh, welcome inside.
I worked my butt off, but I got 2 really great long-term clients. And that's how I started our
It's true.
company. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I remember like this
Crazy.
one
Long
client.
term, like
Okay, this
like
one.
10 years.
Yeah, but like the first client that I got, dirtiest house that I was there.
Can you say her
for.
name? I'm
No.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And I remember being there for hours, but she stayed with us for at least 3 years, so it was all worth it. But
And your second client was like a friend.
a friend,
Yeah.
amazing woman,
Turned into be a friend.
really cool person.
Yeah.
So it's just really funny how life just kind of, if you work hard, you can actually achieve something. And
What do you
okay,
think you learned from that? Not necessarily just the.
Okay, so bringing it back to Fiji, I think with businesses, we're having some struggles here, getting some stuff off the ground. I think, like, we've been grinding for a long time, but I think sometimes you have to pick a direction and grind it out and do some things for free and do some things that are painful and inconvenient and, like, make a buck off of that eventually. I clean people's houses for free. And now we have an income from it because John and I joined forces and actually made it a proper business.
Join forces.
We did. Because
So, military like. We joined forces.
All right, let me throw in a side story there just to give you guys some
Oh,
a
no.
little interesting laugh.
Oh, no.
Like, I was grinding so hard. I was working like all day getting these like
I just want to
free
say,
clients.
just before you start your story, I was also grinding hard while Stephanie was grinding hard.
Yeah, John was definitely.
Just kidding.
No, John was working on his apprenticeship.
John's just chilling, just driving Lamborghinis and Ferraris over here.
Yeah, he was working at a high-end automotive repair shop. So I was living a bit of a spicier life than I
Dude.
was. I was cleaning people's toilets. But one night I was like,
So true.
yeah,
Me show up at home.
me just
Hey,
scrubbing toilets.
I got
John's
this
got
Lamborghini for the weekend, babe.
Lamborghinis. Yeah, I'm like, oh, different lives.
Client
over
doesn't
here.
want to drive it. He just wants us to figure out what's wrong with it. So
Test drive. I'm
we
like,
got to put some miles on this
get in
baby.
my poopy shorts, like have a shower, and jump in the Lambo. Woo.
Let's go, baby.
Okay, anyway, this is like a rogue day in my life that I remember just like cleaning all day, and then I had to go home and shower, and I had to run to my waitressing job, and then I'm like 12 at night finally coming back home, and we had this like bucket seat truck, or you guys might call it a van in Fiji. It's like a 2-seater. It was like manual locks, and I'm like driving down the road midnight.
It was a 1996 single cab Tacoma.
It was beautiful.
Oh, with a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
Dude.
And I had these
so
two
clean.
drunk guys jump out on the road. Yeah, I had two drunk guys, young guys, must have been like 20, 25, jump out on the road. They tried to stop my vehicle. The one guy jumped in the back of the truck, like the pickup part. And the other guy tried for my passenger door.
It's in Fiji we call it the tray. Excuse
the
me?
tray, sorry. The passenger door, and tried to get into the vehicle, and the other guy was in the back. And then lucky for me, I had the passenger door was locked because it was a manual. Like I'd have to physically unlock it. And then I slammed on my brakes, and the guy hit the front and then like fell out the back. And then I just like ripped off, and like 8-10 blocks up, I like pulled over, called the police. And then I was like, these drunk guys, I think they're just being stupid.
This is
like,
on Richter Street, right? No, on
it was on the, yeah.
on Pandosy.
In Pandosy
Yeah.
and Kelowna. And anyway, it doesn't matter what street. Not everybody will know. It's
Hey.
for your relevance only.
Well,
Anyway.
Kyle's listening to this. Kyle appreciates
Okay.
it.
So I go down the street, and then I call the police, and I'm like, okay, they'll deal with it. And then I get home, and I had such a busy day that I was just like so happy to be home. I didn't even tell John that happened. I was just kind of like, and next. The day's so busy.
Yeah.
I think
you
I didn't
even
tell you about
me.
it for until 2 days later. I was like, oh my gosh, you don't know the craziest thing that happened to me the other
Like
night.
2 nights ago. Okay, as a husband though, like when you're like, if your wife shows up and you guys live like, 3 minutes down the road, and like a bunch of guys try to jump in your wife's vehicle, and that was like 5 minutes ago, you probably like jump in the vehicle and like go see where the guys were at.
Kinda
Just have a
hunt them
chat with
down.
them.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
take the machete with you.
Yeah, exactly. That's
You
what
know,
I was
there's-
scared of.
Apparently, scared, also known as forgot. But
Well, yeah, like I did forget, but like realistically, I was fine. So
yeah, well, I had a situation. It probably wouldn't turn out very well, actually, for me, if you would have told me the same night.
I know.
Because there's one time when I used to bring machetes home with me from Fiji, because I go like
Not the best life choice, everybody from Fiji. Don't bring machetes to overseas countries.
definitely do. Very helpful for trimming bushes and
Camping,
camping. Yeah,
chopping firewood.
yeah. Bro status. You look very cool. You're elevated.
You're elevated.
You're elevated in bro status if you have a machete and you look like you know how to use it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, what's
So-
your story?
I don't know. One night I'm driving home from my friend's house. This is in Saskatchewan, in Prince Albert. So we're talking like,
Canada.
yeah, Canada, the ghetto of Canada. So, yeah. Enough said. So it's coming home like late at night, and there's this guy like you making snowballs. So if the snow is like really, really, if the snow is a bit like if it's warm, you can actually like push the snow together to make snowballs, and you can throw them. And usually like you have like fights in school with them, and like it's fun because when you hit somebody with it, it like breaks apart. But
It's like throwing mud in Fiji, but it's ice cold.
yeah, exactly, pretty much, and it doesn't hurt as much as mud, I think. If you hold it
Debatable.
really,
If
really
it's
long and you
ice,
squeeze it
it'll
together,
kill you.
yeah, you
like
can
a
turn it into
rock.
like an ice cube, which is dangerous. So these guys are like standing at this like on the side of the highway, like throwing snowballs at cars, and they hit my car. And I'm quite particular about my vehicles, right? And so,
Like a crazy psycho.
well, that's aggressive. But these guys hit my car,
Crazy
so I
psycho.
pull up. I pull
Just
up,
wait.
baby.
Crazy psycho.
I'm like, all right, let's go, baby. So I pull over, and I had a machete stored in my spare tire in the trunk, like where the spare tire goes under the cover. So I pull over, just like in my mind, I'm like gangster mode, and so I like,
Thinking he's so cool.
and like these guys probably had guns on them. Like I mean, they could. I mean, so I mean, who knows? I mean, probably unlikely, but they could. So I pull over on the side of the road, open my door, open my trunk, just like Denzel Washington, just open up with spare tires, grab my machete, and just like turn around and just start walking towards him like slow mo. Like in my
Your
in my
mind,
mind,
it
I'm
looks so
like,
cool.
this is actually slow motion right
And
now.
I'm gonna
just like,
say, like, the area of Canada that John used to live in is pretty sketchy. He used to never acknowledge that, but now that we've gone back and visited, he's like, yeah, it is sketchy. So if you could imagine John running after some kids in the Canadian ghetto, maybe that's a good image.
that's a different time though. That running story is a different time.
Oh,
This
well,
time,
all right. So John has done this multiple times. This is not like a one-off moment. Let's just
yeah. So this time, anyways, the end of the story is like I just start walking towards these guys with my machete in one hand, and it was slow motion, by the way, in real life, slow motion, and I'm like, well, they're in real motion, I'm in slow motion, walking towards them with my head down, and anyways, they run off because they get scared because they look like a psychopath probably.
yeah.
They run off, and that's the last I see of them. I'm like, well, that was kind of anticlimactic. And they get back in my car to drive off.
Like what
The second story,
what
though,
did you think that you were gonna do?
I don't know. I actually,
You like
know what?
look up at them and they didn't run off. You're like, boo. What were you gonna
I don't
do
know.
if they didn't run?
That's the thing. Like, that's the thing is like, I remember your dad had a conversation with me, like when I asked him if I could marry you,
Yeah.
and he was like, guys, just the typical thing with the guys who are young is they don't think about consequences.
Yeah.
Like they'll do things and like life's good.
My dad
and-
always says, no thinky.
Yeah. And so that was definitely a perfect example where I was like, this is going to be the best move for longevity. Like where I had already driven past them. Like I drove past.
Yes, multiple guys
As
throwing
I was driving
snowballs,
past,
and
they-
I will walk towards them with a giant knife with zero plan and not enough aggression to go through with it.
Yeah, like I just walk up to them and I'm like,
You see
okay,
my
guys,
knife?
I got a knife. Like, this is cool, right? Like, you saw me walking up. Like, all right. Just, that was cool. I'm going to go back to my car now.
John's kind of like our dog Harley. He's a big Rottweiler, but to be honest, biggest teddy bear in the village. He has a big bark, but not a lot of bite.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to test it. And so another time, we're living in Saskatoon, in the Alphabets, which is basically, there's a part of town. It starts at like,
Sorry, guys. It's story time.
yeah. There's Avenue A, B, C, D, E, all the way down to like, I can't remember.
It's called the Alphabets. It's the more...
It's the sketchy part.
It is the sketchy
Yeah.
part of town where people have been scalped and murdered. And I
Tied
was
to stop
told,
signs.
yeah, I was told, do not walk in this area. It's not okay. Bad things will happen to you.
Yep. Pretty much. You definitely don't want to be walking the Alphabets as a white girl at night.
No.
That's for sure. So anyway, I think you were in the car with me. We're driving down.
I was in the car
So
with you.
we lived on Avenue. So as you go down the Alphabets, it gets sketchier and sketchier.
Yeah,
so
we were
like
pretty
lived.
broke, so
I
we
lived on. I lived on Avenue C. Stephanie lived up Avenue C in a
Yeah,
different.
we were not
place.
married yet.
Yeah.
We were just dating.
So she lived in a different house. We just lived on the same street. And I think this was around like Avenue N or something like that. Like it was down. It was deep. We were deep in the Alphabets. And again, what's with the snowballs? So I'm driving past this park.
John's very touchy towards his vehicle.
Well, yeah. And these kids. So there's a group of kids in a park. It's night. It's probably like 9 or something. And these kids throw some snowballs. And I don't know what got into me, but I'm like, I'm pulling over. And like Steph, jump in the driver's seat and follow me. So dude, this is straight out of a movie. Like I thinking, like I never told this story.
I'm like, dumb.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I get out. I'm like, drive. And I jump over a chain link fence. Like you can hear like the sound of chain link fence,
Again,
right?
John has his machete in hand. Because
No,
he
no, no.
loves You did. You keep it in your trunk.
No, I didn't have a machete.
No?
No. Because I ran around the front of the car. I remember scaled the chain link fence, jumped over,
Oh, in my
ran to the
mind, you
park.
did.
No, and then it
Well,
was
thank
just me
goodness.
versus like 5 kids. I was just chasing them, like it was like through front yards, which
Okay,
turns
this is
into.
making it a worse decision. Like, you didn't have a
I didn't
weapon
have a
and
weapon. No,
you're chasing 5 kids.
I
And
just
they're not like small.
through
They're
front
like the
yards,
same size as John.
jumping fences through the backyards of the next houses, through their front yards across the street, and then the next set of houses, they actually, I think that was their house, they went straight into, and I was like, oh, you kids are lucky. Again,
Was it
like
lucky? Like, what's your end result?
I don't know. Probably
And
should have just kept
like,
driving.
let me give you some context. Like, I was coming home from work one day in that area. I was going to John's house. I like pull past his alleyway, like the back street to his house, and there is a SWAT team in that alleyway, like a whole police force with like vests, like and like big guns, and they're all looking at me and they're like signaling me to like drive ahead, and I just like go around the front of the house instead, and I start being like, yeah, we live in the ghetto. I didn't even do anything.
You're like walking up. Remember, there's a payphone in that corner.
Yeah.
You're like, I just gonna make a call.
It's just so awkward. And then John's like running through this neighborhood, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure who I'm dating or like what.
If you guys haven't seen the movie Sicario, I'm like, dude, I'm like Sicario before Sicario.
With like zero plan and like zero like good outcome.
Strategy.
If someone
Chase
had turned
people.
around to challenge you, it would have been a bad moment of your life. So
That's
you're
true.
lucky.
It's
Anyway.
very true.
Anyway, bring it back to Fiji after that long episode of stories from us of our lives. I think like really what we need to be doing here is just accepting the challenges that come in Fiji and being okay with, I don't know, whatever flies at us. You've chased children down alleyways when after snowballs have been thrown at you. You know, what else can you take, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think part of that, like running after people without a plan, is kind of what got us into this position. Maybe.
Maybe we jumped in 2 feet and
Yeah.
just go for it. Not
Well, no, it's not like we don't have a plan. Like we definitely have a vision and we have a mission. So the vision is driven by the mission. And if things don't align with one of those, then it's a thing that you don't do, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like with the turmeric business that we've kind
That
of
definitely aligns with our mission.
it aligns with our mission, but I think like it's interesting to see like there's a lot of hurdles coming up. Even the fact that like, okay, the person that we're supplying right now,
I just got a text from them. I'll talk about this right now. It'll
Okay.
be live.
we had been told that they need a weekly supply.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking to them about, hey, you know, we've doubled from what we had last week. Will you take from us what we have currently? And they said, we don't need the supply for the following week because our shipment's going out. And so we're trying to tell them, look, we need to keep momentum so people see the momentum and we build and build and build. And this is how we make a great business partnership. And it's hard for people to get on board, but they don't see the importance of keeping it rolling. And so if we don't have the people buying from us this next week, we have to find farmers or other options or take a huge loss on ourselves, which is really financially hard. Again, we're not really excessively wealthy people. We have a little bit of leeway, but not a ton. And so we're looking at other options like, okay, if we buy all this turmeric, do we boil it and dry it and make a powder and sell it overseas and find our own buyer? Like, what does that look like for us long term? So we're kind of hashing out just different ideas. And then there's full transparency in the sense of like, we need options. We want farmers to have options, but we need options as well because we're not an endless pit of money. So investors would be welcome, or, you know, anyone that wants to jump on board with some ideas would be great. But I think we're just kind of walking through the process of like, the idea has to really come to full circle to make some money at the end of the day, because if we can't have a constant buyer, we can't also buy because we don't have endless money. So anyway, I think that's just kind of a new issue that we're facing within the turmeric world. John's currently texting and not helping out with the conversation.
No. I just got a text. From the people who are buying from us.
Okay.
And it's funny because she's like, so you guys are getting this live. Because, like, I just got a text. And she's like, hey, I just came across your article. And she sends me a picture of the newspaper article in the Fiji Sun today. So guys, this is all happening like while we're talking about this in the podcast, which is great.
John wrote an article for the...
No. So the Fiji Sun called me earlier this week.
Oh,
Yes. And they asked me a bunch of questions, and I talked. And I guess when you talk to these newspaper companies, like they got the recorders on and stuff like that.
Of course.
And so they quoted me a bunch of times in the newspaper article. And then a couple days later, they called me and they said that the CEO of the newspaper likes our stuff or whatever, which is cool, and asked me to write an opinion article, which I thought was going to be in today's paper, but I guess it's not. So
but might be coming out eventually.
Might be coming out.
They might not use
Guys,
it.
I wrote a 500-page article for the Fiji Sun.
And I proofread it, and it looked really good.
It's mint. So keep an eye out for it. But anyways, this lady who's buying the turmeric from us, they have the contact overseas, or the contacts. And she's like, came across your article, and sends me a picture of the newspaper article. And I wonder if I should read this for people. Maybe not. That might be boring.
It would be boring.
Then I just told her name. I said, I'm telling you, my presence on social media can change your business, your boss, and your life. I'm not like other people. When you work with me, it's different.
Oh, okay. A little bit of vanity in there.
Well, like,
no, I get it.
Well, it is different.
It is different
because, like, you're not just dealing with anybody here. And, like, when I say me, I'm talking about us. I'm talking about Waka the brand. It's like,
you're gonna put 120% into making this successful.
Yeah, like she's like,
out there.
Like because they called us, and so long as they're short, I've told many people this story. I took a sample to these people last year because it grows wild on my farm. So we have 200 acres, and it grows wild all over the place.
We thought maybe we could sell some turmeric.
Yeah. So we were going over to Nandi anyways. We were going over to Suva. You know, when we go to these places, we try to make more.
If you see us on holiday, we're also doing a little side venturing here and 100%. There because we
always having meetings.
Let's explore some other markets while we're on holiday because we can.
Like even this last holiday, like, or whatever that was, like we met up with Pate and, you know, like using the most of our time, like making cool contacts and getting to know people that we respect and admire, and whether that's to promote our business or just to, like, you know, meet them and be face to face with them. Anyways, I took these people a sample. They were like, we love the sample, but we don't need it at this time. Fast forward, like, you know, 7-8 months, they're like, hey, we're desperate. This is before Christmas. We can take 5 to 10 tons a week. And I'm like, all right, let me get home. I'll start working on it. So we start working on it. I put the word out. We do the social media stuff, which is not just like nonchalant. Like, you still have to strategize about how you do this stuff, because like we don't want to do anything half-heartedly. And so when we do it, we also do it well planned. Like, you guys might have seen a video on Facebook where I actually went out to a field, went with my uncle, we pulled turmeric, he did the translation in Fijian. Like, that's not just like afterthought. That takes time and that takes planning. And in Fiji, like, you know, it's like, hey, let's do this at this time. And it doesn't happen until 2 days later at that time, right? And so, last week of finally we get, okay, Thursday we're buying turmeric. We get 10 bags last week, all right? Or not last week.
The week
before. Yeah, the first week, 2 weeks ago, 8 bags. This last week, 20 bags. This next week, I already have 2 tons confirmed, which is like 50 or 60 bags. And so they call me this week and they're like, we might not need as much, or we might not need any for next week. And I'm like, ugh. That's not how this works, because I built this up. And so the problem is I'm talking to the secretary. I need to talk to the boss.
Yeah.
Hopefully the boss.
Get the phone number off of her, because like you're promising people that you're going to buy weekly, and then the people that are buying from you are
That's why I
messing
can't
around.
rely on people in Fiji, frankly, and I've lost trust in and typically in a democratic state or in a democratic situation, you are innocent until proven guilty. And I've kind of changed my tune to the point, at least in business, that you're guilty until proven innocent.
Which
And then
is
you,
was so
so I
awful.
assume that you're not good at what you say, or you're not good for your word until you prove that you are,
Yeah.
instead of like taking people at their word. And which is unfortunate, but I think that's the way to protect yourself. I think that's how everybody in Fiji does business. So I'm learning. Um, but
Which
yeah,
is
that's why.
sad because I think like you want to take people at face value for what they say and like trust their word. Like let your yes be yes and your no be no, because that's how you and I operate. That's how we function as a couple. Like that's how we try to do business. If we say yes to a deal, like yes, we will do our best to supply you with X amount of turmeric per week. We're going to go at it
Yeah,
and full force. And then all of a sudden on your end, it's not full force. It's really hard for us to back down from what we're telling people. Hey, we're going to buy weekly. So we're kind of going, okay, if you can't buy from us weekly, what are our other options? Do we boil and grind and dry this and find a new buyer? Do we just brand it ourselves and even just supply within Fiji? Like, what does that look like? And interestingly enough, like we have a lot of different meetings and NGO meetings and government meetings, and you know, people are interested in this because they also want to do great things for Fiji and farmers. They want to be supportive of the economics in outer islands. But it's hard to get something concrete that we can say yes to because we have a limited budget. Obviously, if we had enough money, we'd just keep buying and buying and just make an economy off of that with no return. But we don't have that luxury.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's a little bit complicated this week, and we're hoping to kind of figure out within in 24 hours a solution. So I guess we're going to let you know next week what that solution is because we have still not come to it. And we have family members that have told us that they're pulling. So I think regardless, this next week we're kind of buying whatever comes out so we don't screw people over and just taking a loss if we don't figure out the solution in time. But John and I are pretty resourceful. We'll make some phone calls. We'll grind it out. We'll get out of this one way or another. Anyway, John's texting a lot. He's sorting things out in the background.
no, this is great. Okay, so um, yeah, there's some wondering on her part. She's like, because they have to meet like all this like USDA like organic certification, and she's like, like wanting to make sure that like we're not like blasting them out or whatever. I'm like, don't worry, we haven't told anybody anything,
Yeah.
and all this is wild. Like nobody's planting turmeric in this place,
Nobody's planting. It's
and
all wild. And it's all on our name, not them.
yeah, and so I'm just like, don't like listen here, I'm different. I'm not like other people. I will change your life, like
Well, I think
because
like you also have to talk big.
she's like because she's like I think you have told people because people from Vanuatu have been calling me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I'm
that
sure they
I'm
have.
sure they have. That's because
It's a small country, honey.
a lot of people in Vanuatu happen to be talking about this because we're now buying in Vanuatu.
Well, and Vanuatu doesn't get like a lot of action for the market.
Mm-hmm.
And we want for us, we live here. We want to see people thrive and then we'll thrive. It's a win-win for us. How could we not want that for the people here? And like people here don't have a source of like revenue that they can rely on. And farmers, we have been slapped in the face trying to be farmers for so long. And we're ready for farmers to win. We're ready to win. Like farming, like I think especially overseas and not in Fiji, but overseas people are like, I just want to quit my regular job and farm and live this sustainable life where I grow my own meat and my own vegetables and like they make it this romantic, beautiful notion. And then we're living a life where we could be off grid and sustainable by ourselves. And dude, it's hard. Even if we ran like a really small farm to just be self-sustainable, be exhausting. Like it would be so difficult.
Yeah.
And I would love to be like, yeah, it'd be beautiful, and like we'd butcher our own meat every day, and like
Holy, every day.
okay,
Just
no,
butchering your own
just
meat
having-
every day. That's so often.
just
Though.
eating so much meat.
You butchering like
I was thinking like a chicken. I wasn't thinking like
pheasants?
a cow.
yeah. Stephanie's eating frog legs over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it would be harder than you think. And then to make excess money, because in farming or making a sustainable living, you also need like way more solar. You're off grid. Sometimes those battery dies.
Off grid.
Off grid.
I love off grid.
You need freezers, so you need a lot of solar to keep those freezer going. Because if you butcher one of your cows, where are you gonna store all that meat?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that you need excess money in. So it's not just like gardening and eating vegetables every single day of your life. And those vegetables need time to grow, and there needs to be a certain amount of water access and X, Y, and Z. So
What have you thought about what I've been repeating like crazy the last couple weeks? About like the 3 options in life. Like I die, I succeed, or I give up, I die, or I succeed.
I'm fully in. I'm actually not sure if you're fully in on that statement. I feel like it's easier for me to be like, yeah, we go for it or we die. And sometimes I'm like, are you in there with me? Like,
Right.
I feel like, I don't know. I think sometimes I'm like, yeah, let's really go for it. And you have a lot of hesitation for things.
No, I think that's just because I'm a lot more analytical.
Yeah,
Than
you
you.
slowly process things and you want the details. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't need any details and let's jump in.
Yeah, I think that's what makes us a good team probably, is that like you're like, let's jump in. Like, let's do it. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. But let's first find out like all the reasons why we shouldn't do it.
Yeah, like let's say for example, at our coffee shop at Fresh Tea&Coffee, I'm like, we need to add some food items like pizza.
Which is crazy. It's so crazy actually that you're talking about this right now because wow, this is what a coincidence. Like today's episode, did you find this? Is actually brought to you guys by Fresh Tea&Coffee.
We're in Sanganga, so
Yeah.
if you're coming between Sabu or Nambuwalo and Lambasa, stop in. It's a great place to have a tea or coffee or a sticky bun.
Yeah.
On your way, you can stop in, sit
So
in the
good.
aircon, relax. There's couches.
Air conditioning.
People will treat you with amazing customer service.
Yep.
Or if you're in a rush, we can get you going real quick
Yeah.
with the takeaway
This
cup.
is not the kind of place where you wait around like 10 minutes for a latte.
No.
Like,
And if it is, you tell them that you want a free coffee. If
Yep.
it's 10, 20 minutes, that's ridiculous.
that's a free coffee on
And
us.
I would be so angry. And
Yeah.
then if that doesn't happen, message us. We'll
Yep.
sort it out for you.
Yeah.
Putting that out there publicly because we have
Boom.
stressed to our staff that customer service is more important than anything else. And I feel that they are executing that well.
Yep.
So they
We have
care
an awesome
about their
team.
customers. They're amazing staff.
Yep.
We love them.
Which is why we decided to put more on their plate.
Yeah, so I've been really pushing them
We're
about the
working on it.
customer service stuff. Pizza was coming next. I was like, all right, we're adding pizza. That's it. Moving on. And John's like, yeah, so let's figure out how much you're spending per pizza. Let's budget out, what we need for supplies. How are we going to function with this? And I was just like, yeah, let's buy an oven. We're doing this. So, steps are good. I'm just more easily to like jump in. Let's try it out. And on to the next thing we can adjust as the errors come. And John wants the details more. So
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the only way that you can make sure that you're going to make money.
it's not true. Our company in Canada, I jumped in 2 feet and I still made money.
Yeah, but you already had experience in the space.
No,
Like,
I did not. I worked.
we
in
worked out how
serving.
much. No, but you worked for cleaning companies after you were serving.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
you did.
All right, you're right. I did a little research.
And we figured out how much it would cost us to go organic and all that kind of stuff, and what that unique offer was, and everything like that.
And we can attribute
Yeah.
all that to John.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate that.
I got
No,
all
but
the-
in reference to like what I was talking about, like, so the 3 options being that you can succeed, you can die, or you can give up.
And
And so
those are John's 3 options. It's not everybody's 3 options.
those are my 3 options. And if you want to work with us, those are now your 3 options.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, like either
So
like
aggressive.
so number 1, I give up. Number 2, I die. Number 3, I succeed. So I'm not giving up. So we can take that off. So that only leaves us with 2 options.
Okay.
That's either I die or I succeed. So I will keep trying until I die. And so, okay, then I've died. Or I succeed before I die. And in succeeding, I have won. Or we
Okay.
have won.
Well, I'm going to say, like, if you're demanding that your employees are in those categories within Fiji, like, be careful because they might die on you. Like,
Well,
okay,
okay.
I'm going to say this because Fiji is the second highest of what, like, how do I explain? Like, it's like the highest level of diabetes in the second highest diabetes
Per
count
capita.
per capita in the entire world.
Right.
Boom.
So like you're actually
That's-
saying like people actually might die.
They actually
Right.
might die.
Yeah,
Like,
and like
the health crisis
yeah,
is
is full real.
astounding. Like, in our village alone, and it is not many people, it is under 30. I would say, without a doubt, 80% of those people have diabetes
Or are pre-diabetic.
or pre-diabetic along with high blood pressure. It's like a combo killer.
Yeah.
And
So we're
it's-
not. That's not what I'm talking about though.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, people that you hire might die.
Might actually die.
Might
Yeah.
die on you.
So I mean, you can keep pivoting. Going back to my 3 points, like you can keep
Me
putting
on the
aside
segment,
actual
like,
death.
dude, let's talk about diabetes. Okay?
Like you can give up, and so I'm not giving up, and so like so either I succeed or I die. And so the important part then is like, well, do you keep, if it's a struggle until you succeed or you die, then like you need to make sure, like in my mind, I'm like, well, I need to make sure that I am at least, making sure that I am grateful for the journey, or like what's on our list of things to do every day, like our checklist for personal development is gratitude. And so that's important for me right now because it's like, yeah, it is a grind. And so I need to make sure that I am enjoying the journey. So like tonight or today, I went down to the river with the kids and we played for like a couple hours, and I'm like, that's the highlight of my day because, I just got to spend time with them. We were goofing off. We made like rafts out of like banana trees that had been knocked down and stuff like that. And we used some vines and like, yeah, we had some fun. And so it's like, I need to enjoy the journey because like I might be doing this till I die and I might never succeed. And so I plan on succeeding, and I'm trying to set myself up, or ourselves, our family, up for like being successful. But it might not happen. It might not. But so along the journey, I'm trying to make sure that like I do the things that are important, like spending time with you, spending time with the kids, getting away with you, like we did in Singatoka, like, just over the Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
And so like the thing that I also found, I was listening to a podcast and there was a guy who was talking, and he said that like if you're a baseball player, which is a sport that's played in Canada and stuff, and the US, not really in any other parts of the world, which is weird, right? Like I guess played in Latin America a bunch.
Yeah.
But like when Fiji, like if you say baseball, people will literally be like, "That's a word I haven't heard before." Okay,
It's true.
it's weird how like you can say something like that, and it's like,
Yeah, Fiji, get into baseball. You get paid a lot, and your career
yeah,
super long.
yeah. And
Get out of rugby, make some money.
these
in
kids would be
baseball.
sick at baseball too.
I know. I'm like,
the
let's just train a baseball team and make bank that way.
for sure. We can be like Cool Runnings baseball version.
Okay, that's a movie
But like if you
reference.
in baseball, anyways, if you are successful, what was the stat? Let me look it up here, really quick. If you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're a great baseball player. So if you hit the ball 3 out of 10 times, you're great. And so it's like that's just a cool thing to like keep in perspective. Is like people think that like winning is winning all the like success is winning all the time.
Mm.
But like if you in baseball, if you succeed 30% of the time, you're great. You're a
Yeah.
great baseball player. You're a Hall of Famer. Like if you hit like 50%, you're like Barry Bonds, like one of all time. And so I think we lose that sometimes because we feel like, oh, we just missed. But it's like, we've attempted like five or six things, and like they have yet to like really take off in our minds. Like, cause they have been successful. Like people know about them, but like we haven't like blown up. We're not raking it in, right?
Yeah.
But like I think just talking in the moment, it's like, hey, it's important to remember that like, there are situations where it's like, hey, you're gonna miss a bunch, but when you hit it big. And I also heard Alex Hormozy talking about it this week. Like the longer that you take to build like the foundation of a building, like the bigger the foundation, the more pilings that go into the ground, the higher the building can be. So it's like if you spend a short amount of time building a company and like scaling it very, very fast, chances are that company won't be able to last the test of time because its foundation is very small.
Yeah, and
So like these
well,
three,
like we're learning. Like think about Fiji, how we've been here for 3 years. We're learning the ins and outs of culture and business and how things function within society and the dynamics of that,
mm-hmm,
and to build like a foundation of business and like the business etiquette within
mm-hmm,
the culture, and just even how the people react to different things. It will determine how your business ends up.
mm-hmm,
We know how to advertise to people in Canada. We know the demographic that we want. We know what's important to
mm-hmm,
them. Within Fiji, do you have that all sorted out yet? Do you have the right demographic? Have you advertised to them properly? All the things. It's all a learning curve, and nobody has it written out as like a proper recipe for anyone.
yeah,
And so you come into somewhere new, any culture that you go to, or any new country that you go to, and there is going to be a steep learning curve. And even for people that are Fijian that have left the country that come back and go, oh, I want to invest in my own culture. Okay, that's great. But have you ever tried to do business in your own culture? Have you ever tried to bring people along with your new idea?
hmm,
Have you ever taken those new steps that you never took before, just living here, either as a child or a teenager, as in a grown man, and then brought something new back? That's a whole new world, trying to make people jump on board with your idea and progress, or something outside of their comfort zone.
hmm.
How do you present that to them? Like
Yeah, like
it's
all these last few years of being in Fiji, like I don't look at like Waka the brand as like a Fijian brand solely. Like I look at us as like Fiji is the 100% the best platform
yeah.
of the Pacific for us to start off in. And naturally, I was born here. This is where my roots are. But like, I think and I've said it before, like the Pacific, our nations are too small to go out to the world like one by one. We're like, it's like, um, how do I describe it? I don't know. It's like trying to find like a needle in a haystack. It's like we're too small. But like
You,
if
you're too small and you're too unknown. Like, well, if I look at huge consumers of products, you look at the US market, you look at the Canadian market, who else? China.
mm-hmm,
How well known are the Pacific nations for
mm-hmm,
supplying? Like I would say China has an inkling of what they could gain out of at least Fiji. I know that they've reaped, what are those like sea cucumbers called?
yeah, I mean this is
It's
minor.
on like a
Yeah,
minor
yeah.
scale, right? The US and Canada, when in Canada at least, when I'm like, oh yeah, Fiji, people are like, Fiji, is that like around Hawaii or like the Maldives, or like where is that? Like what island is that? And I have to be like, well, do you know where New Zealand is? oh yeah, New Zealand. I'm like, it's really close to New Zealand. It's very hard. And I'm like, Fiji water? Oh yeah,
All right,
Fiji
Fiji water. Yeah.
water. Like that's kind of like the clue. Like, oh yeah, I've seen celebrities with Fiji water. Oh, ooh, that must be beautiful. Like, it's pretty small and unknown to like markets that consume a lot.
Hmm.
And those are kind of the markets that you want to get into because they'll buy a lot from your market.
What do you think has made Fiji water so desirable or so well known? Like, why is Fiji water the most sought after kind of like status water bottle brand in the world?
Well, number one, they got into the right hands. However, they did that. Great marketing. And they've made it unique by making it an awkward shape. Like the square,
The square bottle.
it sets it apart.
Hmm.
And they put it in the right hands
Right.
of celebrities. So,
Right.
something that's interesting. I secretly love the Kardashians. I love to follow along with the drama.
I'm out.
I love all that kind of stuff. Anyway, Kendall Jenner is in that clan of people.
Oh, you're gonna talk about the bathing suit thing?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
saw
right.
that
Yeah,
online.
I
So
did. Yeah.
anyway, there's a bathing suit company that did just something like triangles or I
It's
can.
called Triangle.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
There you go. I was on par. And
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know anything about bathing suits. I don't
they
know.
read the same article anyway. So they were trying to get Kendall Jenner to wear their bathing suit, and
Good luck.
they were like, yeah, that's probably impossible to do. So they use like this marketing tactic of FOMO, like fear of missing out, and they sent their bathing suits to all her friends and like lots of them and just everywhere, and she was just seeing them left and right. And finally they got an email from her saying like, hey, like all my friends have these bathing suits, like could I get some, please? Like, I'm not nobody. She's like the major player of everybody, but feeling jealous or like she's missing out on the product. So she's requesting it. And so they're like, yes. And like sent her a big shipment of stuff. So she started wearing it because all her friends were wearing it. And they got in to be like a major player now because they got the right person to wear their thing or promote their thing. And somehow Fiji Water has been able to get the right person to drink their water and be in these big events.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a major brand, which is awesome. It's great that they're representing Fiji in such like a big way. Like people know the country of Fiji because of Fiji Water. I know nothing about their company as a
Yeah,
whole.
it's actually a very like for those of you who aren't in Fiji, Fiji Water is a company that you hardly hear anything about.
Yeah.
They operate in a part of the country. It's on the main island, but they operate in a part of the country that's like
Obscure.
kind of obscure, pretty out of the way. But when you go in that direction, like between the main port and their factory, it's like every 10 minutes you meet a truck with a 40-foot container that's probably full of Fiji water bottles,
Yeah, it's crazy.
which is insane. Well, but I mean, it makes sense because like you think about every 7-Eleven, every single grocery store in Canada, and so probably in the US, has Fiji water in it.
I know.
So they must be pumping it out of there.
They're supplying a lot. And I
Mhm.
always wonder, like, dude, how are they keeping up with that? Obviously, we're not going to get into that. But, like, I'm like, that's crazy that they're putting it out to the world from such a small country. Like, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
So if you want to build a tall building, build a wide foundation. And I think that's the journey that we are on. And I'm not going to say that it's by choice. Like, I'd like to be one of these guys that, like, talks about everything like I know, but I don't. And a lot of the things that I know is because I've learned. And we've chosen this journey for our family and for ourselves, not because it's easy, but because there's opportunity. And so I think that if you pursue opportunity in a way that's honest, in a way that you actually care about people, and you're not just trying to treat people like customers, you're trying to actually give an opportunity to people. Like, let me say, for example, like with this turmeric thing, just really, really quickly, like we could just say, hey, buy merch off of us. Like, hey, we've made it to 100 and whatever thousand followers. Like, hey, this is our merch. Like, you guys follow us, buy it off of us. But it's like, what if instead of just like giving you guys a product that we wanted you guys to wear, or to buy and just give us money for. What if instead we gave you an opportunity to make money yourself, and we also make money in the process? So like we all win. So we don't just turn you guys into customers. We we turn people into,
Profiters?
yeah, like people who are able to profit with us, right?
Yeah.
Because like in this exact situation with, say, with the turmeric, I buy for 50 cents, I sell for $1. So your profit as a farmer is 50 cents. My profit as a middleman is 50
50
cents.
cents.
So we're in this together. Like you have costs, you have time, you're pulling it. I have costs, I have to transport it, I have to do all this stuff and clean it and wash it probably. So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna build a big tall building or a big tall business, build a big foundation.
Well, and like, it'd be awesome, I think, to see like people overseas. Hey, if you want to invest in Fiji and make something, like,
Call us.
call us, invest with us. Like, again, always. John and I do not have a lot of money. We have enough to like provide for our family and do like a few small business ventures, but we're not killing the game out there. Like,
Yeah, like if you guys like, if you if you think about this honestly, like the room that we're sitting in right now is a room that was built by my dad, or
Yeah.
was a house that was built by my dad. We helped with the like extensions and stuff like that. We sent a bit of money here and there, but like, don't you guys think if we were rich, like we would probably have investments in other places? Like
like,
we would have our own house in the
and
village
like a nice house.
and a nice house.
That
And
wasn't, no offense to the color blue, but that wasn't like an aqua blue with
yeah,
like some purple fuchsia looking curtains.
so like frankly, like we're not complaining. We always have enough to get by. God has been really, really faithful to
Yeah.
us, and we've seen that throughout our relationship, because it never seems like, oh, month to month, like just like you guys, like y- you know, people look at us like, oh, we have a vehicle, we have
A tractor.
a tractor, we have employees, and it's like, but you guys don't necessarily know the details, like how we are able to do these things, right? So like a lot of it is because of hard work and God blessing us, and we also have investors and other
Yeah.
people who work alongside of us. So yeah, I mean, it's just something to keep in mind.
I
Like
guess
every
I'm
month
just,
we're like, oh, I hope we have enough to do this the next month, and every month that we go by, it's like it gets provided.
yeah, and to do some more things. Like John and I sometimes cut off our personal budget for groceries, and we go back down to basics.
Hmm.
Like we're hiring a videographer this next month.
Oh, guys,
We
I'm
can't
so.
wait.
This is the one of the hires that I am most excited for,
Okay.
because for everybody listening to this, like it's gonna up our game
Yeah.
tenfold.
Well, and like with
Easy.
him, like we've offered him what I hope is a decent salary. It's not going to be mind blowing, but it's decent. But for that, like financially, we've had to say, okay, we're going to cut X, Y, and Z out of our budget
Yeah.
and make it work, because we have to make it work, because this is what will take us to the next level, and we're willing to risk it for the biscuit. Pardon my,
Oh,
yeah.
that
But
rhymed.
yeah, but I think like we're just willing to take these like financial hits to make sure we can do the things we need, because we think that will level us up. Get more content to you guys, get more exposure, get more opportunities in Fiji to be actually able to have
Yeah,
a
like with the
successful business to help other people and to grow ourselves, so we have more finances to do more in Fiji. We need more money to do more, to help more people, to help ourselves, to help more people. Like, you don't have money on endless. You want to do good things, but money is what allows you to help people.
yeah,
And it's
money's just a tool.
money is just a tool.
Like if we
Definitely.
got to the point where we make it big, we turn into multimillionaires or whatever, then like money is still just a tool, and money
Yeah.
just gets used to do all the things that we dream of. We
Yeah.
get to build churches, we get to finance like kids clubs, like youth like centers, like we want to do.
Well, and more businesses to make more employment for people, to make more money.
Yeah.
Like e-commerce, I make more money, you make more money, the world goes around. You spend money, I make money, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's all a great thing. And you see people, and it's not about making money or being rich. It's about quality of life. I think I've said this before, to be allowed to buy vegetables for your family, to cut out the stuff that's detrimenting your health, to eliminate diabetes in the country. Like I said, diabetes is so high. It's all type 2. It's all the eating habits.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, to boil it down, it's cool. Like, already we're in a position where, we have the coffee shop, and that's a business that already employs just a few people, but those people, are able to look after the kids, send their kids to school, put food on the table, and, pay for upgrades to their house and save for things that they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
It's exciting.
It's great.
Yeah, this is what we want for
I'm going to close this out
Oh.
with our game.
Oh.
Level 1, perception. So we play this game every time. It's called We're Not Really Strangers. Level 1 is perception. Level 2 is connection. And level 3 is reflection. We haven't yet made it to level 2 or 3, so we're just going to play.
No, we've done level 2. We haven't ever done level 3.
You want to do level 3 then?
No.
You want to go big or go home?
No.
Let me see a level 3 question here. Okay, we'll just do a level 1 question.
No, wait. We're not going to do level 3, but read level 3 question so people can see what you're dealing with. Do the one that you read.
What do you wish we did more of?
Oh, that's not hard.
Okay, we're not going to answer that question because I have an answer.
Okay, answer that one. That one's easy. Let's do level 3.
Okay. As a man, you know what I wish we did more of?
Wow. Okay.
What? I just wish we just spent more time together.
R-rated. John wants more sexy time.
No. I just wish.
Roll my eyes. Every man ever.
Nobody said that.
Every man ever. Okay, let's just skip to my answer.
Okay.
What do I wish we did more of?
Yeah. You don't know.
I don't.
So in the meantime, we're gonna answer a level 1 question because
Wait,
I know.
I wish we spent more time with you massaging my feet.
Okay, so we're gonna go to level 1 now. If we weren't in a relationship, what pickup line would you use with me?
Okay, number 1, I have never had a reason to use a pickup line in my entire life.
Wow. Wow.
All right, let's go with that. I would say hi, and that's gotten me far in life.
Wow. So if we weren't in a relationship, what pickup line would you use with me? I'd probably just be like, hey girl, what's up?
Both of us think that hey is an equivalent pickup line.
Hey, I'd be like, hey
wait,
girl,
let's.
what's up?
I love like the pickup line. Not that this is actually like a good pickup line, but and this is like a classic where the guys are like, "Oh, did it hurt?" And you're like, "Why? What? What are you talking about? What hurt?" They're like, "When you fell from heaven, because you must be an angel."
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
Something like that. Like, I don't mind the really cheesy, like over dramatic pickup lines because it's funny and you're like, yeah.
How about this one? I hope you know CPR.
Why?
Because you just took my breath away.
Oh my gosh.
No? Huh?
Okay. I can't even think of any other dumb like pickup lines. Like, I normally have like a few at my fingertips, but not today apparently. Not today.
Do you have a Band-Aid?
Oh.
Because I scraped my knees falling for you.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yo, what's up, everybody? This was episode number 8. Thank you for
the
joining
Waka
us.
family. Thank you for joining
Podcast.
us. We'll see you next time.
We're out.